Mike. Today is the 11th of March. Already the 11th of March. We are getting towards springtime. The clocks went back in America this weekend. I'm sure they're going to go back in the UK and Europe next weekend or the weekend after. Now, nothing's really happened, has it? Nothing's really happened in crypto. What could there possibly be to talk about other than potentially a $72,000 Bitcoin, of course? We are going to spend a lot of time talking about Bitcoin today. Don't worry, it's not something that we're going to miss off. I probably will juggle the show around just so we can go through this and have a proper look at where the next targets are. Remember what I was saying to you last week, the targets I had in place last week. Remember what I was saying. Morning to Jesse in chat. Good morning to Tata and Hidden and everybody else that's watching out there. Remember, this is live. It's 11:01. It's March the 11th. I am really here. This is not a recording. I am not pre-recorded. The charts are live, and that means I am interactive. So, Danny, good morning to you. Let me know where you are, and we will go through some shout outs. So first of all, then, what we're going to go through, have a quick look at the markets and some X files. We're going to look at $100,000 Bitcoin in 40 days. Is that possible? Is $10,000 going to be the peak for Ethereum? Don't miss out on Chainlink. Another article about one of my favorite projects. Litecoin again has made the news, and Litecoin's usage for payments, that's in the news again. We'll look at that. And then we're going to look at this ridiculously large Arbitrum unlock. It's like 82.5% of the supply is being unlocked this week. We're going to look at that. And then our final thoughts. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see for the last week now, I've had my $74,000 target on the screen. Go back and check the streams. That's my next target for Bitcoin. Bottom left-hand corner, you can see we are just under 105,000 followers. What a time to be alive. So Bitcoin is coming in at $71,650. It's going up every time we speak. Excuse me. So it was a bit of an early pump, but there is reasons behind that, which we're going to go through in a minute. There is a reason why we've gone up so quickly. And I'll tell you why. It's not what you think it is. Good morning, Solo Sky. Good morning, Why Crypto. I hope you're doing well. Let me get on with the markets first. So, market cap, $2.68 trillion, up 1.5%. Volume, again, very, very decent. 138 billion in volume on a Monday morning. I mean, that is 2 to 3 times higher than what we've had in the past. It's huge. Bitcoin dominance back over 51. It was 51.5%, now 52.1%. That is continuing to go up and edge up. Ethereum dominance, 17.9%. Again, add them together, you get 70% of the total crypto market. Bitcoin ripping up trees, 71.6. Ethereum, the second I said it won't go above $3,000, it's now at $4,033. Again, an incredible pump. Now, again, don't forget, when Bitcoin goes, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything else goes with it just yet. There will always be a lag, but we've had a good weekend for some alts. Floki, Near Protocol, Theta, Pyth is up. Gala, remember our short-term, or medium-term, price target for Gala was 6 cents. We're now at 8 cents. So we've gone past where we expected Gala to be. Now, remember, we said where we expected Gala to be at Christmas. So 2.5 months later, we did finally break that target of 6 cents. Algorand is pumping. Finally, Algorand is pumping. That's my worst performer in my portfolio by a long way. Thor is up 8%. Chainlink is up at $21.42. I'm going to let you know if I think that is too late to get in or not when we get to the article. And Litecoin, look at Litecoin. Is it going to get back to $100 like the heady days of 2016, 2018? Who knows? We shall see. Losers then. What is down? Not a lot, really. Got Dog with Hat, Beam, Axie, Helium, not really, not many losers today, which is nice to see. And over the weekend, there weren't too many losers either. We had a few days where some of the alts ripped, some of the meme coins ripped. But Monday morning is always the most boring day of all, because there's no news over the weekend, except that we are greeted today by this beautiful sight of Bitcoin. Remember, it's currently sitting in price discovery. We have never before been at $71,600. It's incredible. So let's go through a few of these X files. Remember, these are probably all going to be out of date now because of the pump, but I don't care. We'll go through it. And then we'll look at the Bitcoin chart in a little bit. So there's a couple here to do with Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor commented, all of these charts, you don't need to keep an eye on this chart. It's not important. What is important is all of these countries are now sitting at all-time highs against Bitcoin. Every single one of them. There is not a country in the world that isn't at an all-time high. But bear in mind, this is now out of date. This was yesterday. So this is now out of date. And remember, as currencies devalue over time, Bitcoin gains strength. That's why Bitcoin was at all-time highs against some of those cryptocurrencies. That's why Bitcoin is going to be an inflation hedge in the future, and held by blue chips, held by countries, held by nation states. Second bit of news about Michael Saylor is the Michael Saylor dollar cost average buying of Bitcoin. Each of these green dots on your screen is where Michael Saylor bought Bitcoin. As you can see, he bought the top of the first peak. He didn't buy the top of the second peak. He avoided that. He bought it all the way down. And of course, now he's buying it all the way up. He has made a $7.3 billion profit. And that was at these prices. He's probably now made in excess of $8 billion profit on Bitcoin. And he hasn't stopped yet. As we covered last week, Michael Saylor is probably going to end up buying another $600 or $700 million worth of Bitcoin. He just doesn't know when to stop. He doesn't know when to stop. Gary Network, could you check it for me? It's pumping. Should I hold more days? Now is a good time to be holding major L1s and major L2s. That's the best time. So those of you that have been following the Jupiter Network, they had their DAO vote, which ended yesterday. The two winners were the Zeus Network and Sharkify. Sharkify is like an NFT liquidity platform where you can borrow against your NFTs. And Zeus is trying to connect the Bitcoin blockchain with the Solana blockchain. They won. Sharky got 20%, but Zeus got 58% of the vote. So that's now happened. The next step is for them to distribute the rewards to the holders. So in the coming days, I'll probably make a video about it, explaining where your rewards are going to go. I think they're going to be vested for a little bit of time. Now, this is very interesting. The Bitcoin order book. There is no sell wall. There is no sell wall for Bitcoin. What this means is, I'll get that off the chart, is there is no Bitcoin to sell. If there is no Bitcoin to sell, the buy orders are going to suck everything up today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We are seeing 5,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin a day being taken off the market. There's no sell wall. The price is going to go stratospheric at some point very soon, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So it's very difficult to explain where the price is going to go. If nobody wants to sell Bitcoin, I can't sit here and tell you where the price is going to go to, because there's no wall of liquidity available. A wall of sells, maybe at 100,000 there is, but there isn't anything between here and 100,000. There's nothing. It's all gone, and it will all continue to go. And this is what happens in a supply shock. And then what happens with the halving adds to the supply shock. Remember, the two most important numbers in your head. Number one, 900 Bitcoin a day are being produced today. As of April the 21st, the day after the halving, that 900 Bitcoin being produced a day is 450. Every single day that those ETFs buy more than 900 or 450 Bitcoin a day, every single day that happens, there is less and less Bitcoin to buy. Now, whether they're buying 10,000, 5,000, 2,000 or 1,000 Bitcoin a day, it is still more than the 450 going to be produced in April. Hard fact. Ignore the moon boys. That's a hard fact. There will be a problem in the distant future where the ETFs will probably start to sell into the market because we've reached a certain price and people will want to take profits. When that happens, nobody knows. Maybe it happens at 100,000 or 150,000. We don't know. All we know is that it's disappearing, and we're going to be a long way from here by the time it happens. That's the first thing to understand. The second thing to understand is that this is going to cause a mania phase. The mania phase happens when we've already seen such a huge price move that retail start to buy $100, $200, $500, and cumulatively they just absolutely rip the market up. And we haven't had that just yet. We're not at that stage just yet. And that's the point where we should consider taking profits from alts, Ethereum maybe, who knows? Because that mania phase isn't connected to anything. It's not connected to real price action. It's not connected to anything logical. It's like buying a meme coin. You buy the meme coins, you like the name. You go and buy Pepe or you go and buy Bonk. You know nothing about it other than it's Pepe and it's a meme coin. We're going to get to the stage where people who don't really know about Bitcoin start buying Bitcoin. And if they don't know what it is, they just buy it thinking the price is going to automatically go up. And at that point, that's when we should start to look to take profits. Now, does that happen in June? Does that happen in December? Does that happen at the scheduled all-time high, if you want to call it that, which is November next year? We don't know yet. We are going very early, I must admit. This is like sprinting off at the start of a marathon. That marathon is going to last 18 months. We've just started sprinting. I think we're going to run out of steam, but when that's going to happen, I don't know. So what I'm going to do, let's have a look at what this person thinks about Bitcoin. And then we're going to go and look at the chart, and we're going to go and look at some things. Remember, it's a Monday, so we're going to look at the bull market support band. We're going to look at where the price is. Remember, my $74,000 target isn't pulled out of thin air. My $74,000 target was based on the bull pennant that we saw last week. I said $7,000 by Friday. It's the money person that was a little bit bigger, so you can see it. Bitcoin is in the spotlight of speculations for its impending halving event. Is this another AI-generated article by any chance? Michael van der Pope has presented us with 3 intriguing scenarios with a keen focus on the $100,000 mark. Bitcoin establishes momentum of where a new all-time high has been achieved. The halving is approaching in 6 weeks' time. The question will be $100,000 pre-halving or after halving? Or is there correction on the horizon and altcoins to shine? Now, I've got my own price targets now for Bitcoin of where I think we could hit on the way down if there is a correction. But I've also got something to point out about where I think that correction may have already happened. Because don't forget, the correction happens before the halving. It doesn't happen the day before the halving. It happens in the run-up. And I think we've already had it, but we'll go through that in a minute. So scenario 1, $100,000 Bitcoin. Immediately following the halving, this scenario manifests a dramatic bull run, likely to further the upward dynamics in the crypto sphere. Scenario 2, high consistency at present figures. This is where we have a steadier progress of Bitcoin's price. It'd be much more welcome to those investors who are anticipating a balanced market movement. This situation shows a long period of continuous growth, which will definitely attract investors. And finally, scenario 3, The retraining. The third scenario gives the opportunity to bring a bit of caution, mentioning the possibility of a correction period. According to Van der Pop, support levels at $52,000 and $45,000. He recommends investors stay cautious. So he believes that we are going to either go to $100,000, have a steady move up, or have a retracement to $45,000 to $52,000. Now, bearing in mind, we're at 71,000. 71,000, the correction of 30% would take us down to 50,000. So it would require a 30% correction from where we are now, which would kind of tally up with his figures here. So the 18th of April is the halving. So it is moving from time to time, which is fine. 18th of April is, what are we? 37 days away. No time at all. So the experts predict $125,000 in 2025 and $360,000 by 2030. Absolutely way off the mark. This is way off the mark. The past few days have seen the market rallying noteworthy, with Bitcoin's price reaching $70,000. I don't agree with these price targets down here, but then again, who am I? Right, let's get onto the chart then. There are a few things to look at in today's charts. So let's have a quick peek. Jesse, you're in France. Very nice. I hope you're enjoying the weather. Let me go down the chats. See who is here. I can't read for all the spam. Thank you for all the smiley happy faces. I hope you're all having a good time. Okay. Hello to you, Leonard. Welcome to the stream. So, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? Well, first of all, first thing we need to look at, we'll start with this today. The bull market support band is now up here at 47,700. So, as I said to you a few weeks ago, what's going to happen with this bull market support band? As the price goes up, this is going to curl up with it like this. And what that does is it provides us with a safety net, if you like. Now, scenario 2 in what Michael van der Pop was talking about is a steady kind of move up like this. Steps to give us previous price action, so when we come down, we don't fall off the bottom of the chart and go back down to, 45, 50,000. We've seen some of that. I know the price has moved dramatically, but we have had these periods where Bitcoin has stayed fairly consistent. It's crabbed for periods of time. This really is the first super pump that we've had, if you like. Now we're on the weekly. Let's go to daily. Here we go. Now, where do I think we had this dip? I think the dip is or was here. This was, I think, our pre-halving dip. And the reason I say that is we went from this price here, which was 48,000, we came all the way down to 38,000. That's a 22% correction. So I think that's potentially our pre-halving dip there. We had a minor dip here, we had a minor dip here, but we also had a bull pennant, and that bull pennant goes from this range here, which was at 62.5, all the way up to 74.7-ish. And when we drew this, we have now gone 15% of the 20% of the way there. So we're 3/4 of the way there. And we haven't technically just gone up in a straight line. We have had some nice, steady action. That is probably the furthest we've pumped. So I think 75,000, call it, is our next target for Bitcoin. And if you listen to the commentators, and you probably should listen to ones other than me, you'll know that from time to time we need to bounce off this. I think that was our bounce. The reason I say that that's the bounce off the bull market support band is that we have been inflated. So what I mean is, we did this. Now, if you drag that down to there, that's what I think has happened. But we've had the ETFs which have inflated the price. And the ETFs, they kind of gobble up. It's like hungry hippos, they gobble up the Bitcoin. And I think that correction down was to our bull market support band, and that would have reset it to the 25th of January. So we're really only a month and a half in, I think, to where we are. So I'm not expecting us to come absolutely hurtling down to 45 or 52,000. I don't think that's going to happen. Yuda, Avo on the first day, it's going to go up or down. Should I buy it on the first day? Never buy a coin like that on the first day. It will pump. Avo is going to rip on the first day, and then it will correct to the downside, find its price, and then it will start to move up. That's what tends to happen. Alternatively, it will absolutely dump. But I've reviewed the project, I've made a video on it. I don't think it's a bad coin at all. I think it's quite a good coin. So I do expect it to rocket up and then come back down. So as far as I can see, for me, Bitcoin especially isn't in too bad a shape. I know the price looks incredulously high. We can probably get rid of some of these lines now. It looks incredulously high. But what do we honestly expect when the ETFs are coming in and buying everything? Where do we honestly expect the price to go when there's 9, 10, 11,000 a day being bought? It's going to go up. This is not an artificial pump and dump. This is all down to the ETFs. I don't care what anybody tells you that read charts. The ETFs are buying 50,000 Bitcoin a week. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. They're buying 50,000 a week. That's 200,000 a month. Within a year, at that rate, they will have over 10% of the supply of Bitcoin that's ever going to exist. The price action that you're seeing now is scary. But as I've said before, we have to find a price where the ETFs are not eating 10,000 a day. Now, where is that price going to be? If you've got $500 million a day over 5 days coming in, for argument's sake, and the price of Bitcoin is $1 million, at $500 million a day, post-halving, they are still buying more Bitcoin than are available. So 450 new Bitcoin a day being mined. $500 million a day coming in. You divide 450 by 500 million. Now, let's say the demand falls to 200 million a day. Then you would probably have a price of about $200,000 for your Bitcoin. For argument's sake, 400,000, 300,000, something around that figure. So those are the numbers we need to start thinking about. And the only time it becomes a worry is when the ETFs start to sell more than they buy. And again, I don't know when that's going to happen. So this is all down to ETFs. Don't think this is whales manipulating the market. Don't think this is the bull market that we're expecting to see next year. This is ETF pressure. And that ETF pressure is going to be compounded. Now, think of it this way. If half the amount of money comes in from April the 20th onwards, we're still at the same problem we are today, because we've got 900 Bitcoin a day. We'll have 450 Bitcoin a day from April the 21st onwards. So the problem doesn't go away. The problem stays exactly the same. And only till we reach a price where those ETFs are not consuming the entire market, because you seem to remember that ETFs are only one group of people buying Bitcoin. You have you guys, you have retail, you have nation states, El Salvador, maybe the Saudis, will all want to hold Bitcoin. They're not going to buy them through the ETFs. So how does this 450 a day be divvied up? How does it get divided up? What happens if the miners don't sell? What happens if the miners realize that if they don't sell, the price of Bitcoin is going to go to $2 million a Bitcoin? They won't sell. They'll hold on. So don't think this is a short-term pump. This is a change in the dynamic of the Bitcoin price and the Bitcoin market. And it will find a price where there is equilibrium in the market, because that's how supply and demand works. Now, that could mean that Bitcoin does this, okay? And it could happen up here. And we could start to see this kind of action, which is fine. But we're not at that price, and that's what I'm trying to get to. We're nowhere near it. There is no way $71,000 for Bitcoin is sustainable when you have so much buying pressure. It's impossible. Do I think it's possible at $150,000 a Bitcoin? Maybe. $250,000? Maybe. Who knows? But it's not 71,000, and it wasn't 50,000, and it wasn't 45,000. That's the other thing to bear in mind. If $500 million a day are coming in, and the price of Bitcoin goes to $45,000, we're just compounding the amount of Bitcoin that's disappearing from the markets. So it's in nobody's interest. Nobody's interest to sell Bitcoin. Nobody's. Your alts are a different matter. Your ETF at this moment in time is a different matter. We're going to get onto that in a second. Because these ETFs are pumping money directly into Bitcoin. They're not pumping it into the crypto market. It's coming into Bitcoin. So when the money starts to distribute itself from Bitcoin into the rest of the crypto market, that money isn't coming directly from ETFs. It could come from people who now have an interest peaked in Bitcoin and might want to go and download one of the apps that you're on now. Maybe that's possible. So let's move on very quickly to talk about a price that I don't agree with. And Austin of Altcoin Daily has predicted that the Ethereum price is $10,000 at cycle peak. And this is completely wide of the mark. If we see the ETF, we're going to smash $10,000. It's not even a question. We're going to smash $10,000. I don't think we're going to go to $100,000, but I think $10,000 is where we would get to in a normal bull run without ETFs. Now, this article was March the 9th this year, so it's not an old article. Had this article been from 6 months ago, fair enough. He's probably going to be, he would have been right then. But it's not. We're a lot further down the line than where we were 6 months ago. So he predicts $10,000. Let's make this a tad bigger so you can read. During a recent discussion, roundtable anchor Rob Nelson and Austin Orn, co-founder of Altcoin Daily, delved into Ethereum's recent market performance. Now, bear in mind, we're at $4,000. We're at $4,000 for Ethereum at this moment in time. He's predicting a $10,000 cycle top. We've got the ETF coming up. So the price prediction here is Ethereum altcoins, highlighting the inherent risk-reward dynamics of the market. We don't need to read anything about this. He specified a potential spot Ethereum ETF from BlackRock and an upcoming protocol upgrade as key drivers. Yes. Yuda, new to crypto, can you give me references which altcoins I should buy right now and why? I would suggest you go and look at the top 10. The top 10 coins. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, Solana. You start with them and you build a portfolio. I've made a video about a $15,000 to $1 million portfolio, it's called. And in that, there are 8 cryptocurrencies, including Chainlink, including, I think, ICP, and I think Algorand is in there as well. And What you want to do, if you're new to crypto, you go straight to the top of the chart and you look at all the main cryptos. Bitcoin and Ethereum should be 40 to 50% of your portfolio, not financial advice. And then after that, you should be looking at the big layer ones and Matic as well. Matic should be in there, and Solana and things like that. That's where you should start with. And when you've got your portfolio in them, that's when you should start to look at more speculative assets. But don't start buying coins with a market cap of 100 million, 200 million. If you're just starting out, make sure you've got enough Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, talking of Ethereum, Arnold's price predictions added an intriguing layer to discussion. Assuming the continuation of a bull market, he speculated Ethereum could reach or even surpass $5,000 in the coming month, with a longer-term forecast of $10,000 at the cycle peak. It makes no sense to give a target of $10,000 for Ethereum when it's going to have an ETF. Look at where Bitcoin was before we even discussed the ETF. It was at $35,000. Something like that. We're at $72,000 and we haven't even hit the halving. Ethereum has moved almost 3x'd from October when all of the ETF news started to happen. Now, we do have some price targets up here. We have a fib level, which is coming in at $4,100. We have the support band is so far down here, 2,600. I don't see a retracement down here, but this isn't healthy for me. This isn't healthy. This isn't following the same price action as Bitcoin. Conservatively, if we get an Ethereum ETF, and remember Ethereum is what's a quarter of the size of Bitcoin now, isn't it? Something like that. Is it just under a third? Somewhere between a third and a quarter of the size of Bitcoin. Let's go and have a look. Now, secondly, so it's about a third of the size. Good morning, Kishan. It's about a third of the size of Bitcoin. Now, what we're not going to see is we're not going to see the same volume coming into Ethereum that we've seen coming into Bitcoin. If we're seeing $500 million a day coming into Bitcoin, we could very well see $50 million a day coming into Ethereum. So over the course of a month, that's $1 billion a month coming into Ethereum of new money. Now, if you think that's only going to move the price from $4,000 to $10,000, then I think you're a little bit wide of the mark. My original target before ETFs was $10,000 to $12,000 for Ethereum in this bull cycle. My target for Bitcoin was $105,000. And the reason is I was going for 10 to 1. So 1 Bitcoin to every maybe 10 Ethereum, maybe every 11 Ethereum, something like that. 10 to 1 roughly. And that would require the Ethereum Bitcoin price to move. Ethereum would come up. It's a smaller coin. It's got a lower market cap. It would outperform Bitcoin in this market. We've now got the ETF, and the ETF has kind of ruined the charts slightly. So Ethereum for me could quite easily go to anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000. That isn't a number I've pulled out of thin air, by the way. That's a number that's based on where I see it in consideration with Bitcoin. Ethereum is going to get an ETF. It doesn't matter if it's in May. It doesn't matter if it's in February next year. It's getting an ETF. And that ETF is going to pump money into Ethereum. Now, if we're going to play devil's advocate and we want the market to keep pumping to November next year, we don't want to run out of steam. We want interest rates to come down. That will pump money in. We want a crypto-friendly government in power. That may or may not be Donald Trump. That's number 2. Number 3, Donald Trump will appoint a new head of the SEC because Gary Gensler will resign. It's tradition that they resign. So he will be gone. Maybe Hester Peirce comes in. She's pro-crypto. Not not pro-crypto to the point where she throws out the regulations, but she's more pro-crypto than Gary Gensler. That would be number 3. Then, with the appointment of Hester Peirce, the ETF would be approved in March, April, May next year. That would then add more fuel to the entire crypto market, where we do continue to November next year. That's the scenario we have that can keep us going. That's what we need. If we pour fuel on a bonfire, it burns very brightly, but it also burns the fuel faster. And without adding more wood to the fire, we're just going to burn ourselves out. We need that fuel. That fuel is interest rates. That fuel is a new president. That fuel is a new head of the SEC. That fuel is a new Ethereum ETF. And Bitcoin's ETF has pumped the entire market. The Ethereum ETF will pump the entire market. Maybe not to the extent that the Bitcoin one has, but it will pump. What coin is worth buying before the Dencon upgrade? Any layer 2. I would look at Matic, Optimism, not Arbitrum. Arbitrum is in a bad state of affairs. So look at layer 2s. If you want to make profit off the Dencon upgrade, then layer 2s are what to look at. Right, just give me 1 second. 1 minute. There we go. Okay, sorry. It's very difficult to balance people turning up at your house with doing the live stream. So anyway, so back to the charts. Where next for Ethereum? If we break this 4100 level, let's go back and have a look at where are we going to go to? Well, $5,000, 4,900 is the peak. But if we're going to look for, let me just put another line in here. Remember, I don't pre-prepare these streams. These streams are done to make it look like I'm a genius. So this is the next probable logical target, which is coming in there at $4,600. Why $4,600? That is the close all-time high. Now look, we've got price action here. We've got closes here. We've obviously got the fib level here, which we're coming up to, and then this. So $4,600. If we keep this momentum up, that's the next target for Ethereum. Bitcoin's already at all-time highs. We're going to look at Link in a minute. That's nowhere near its all-time high. The alts are really lagging, and that's not a bad thing. Bitcoin has to lead the way. Bitcoin has to be the big dog, the one that leads the markets, and that's where we are right now with Bitcoin. So just bear in mind that we are close. One other thing I need to point out to Yuda. Yuda, whatever you do, do not take the advice of somebody on the internet on what coins to buy. I'm telling you what coins I would buy. You need to do your own research. My advice would be to start with CoinMarketCap and go and have a look at the top 10, top 15, top 20 coins, and then go and look at them. You don't want to rush into a portfolio based on a random person on the internet. Even though I'm more than happy to give you my advice, it is only my advice. It's not financial advice. So for me, 4,100, then 4,600. They would be my next two targets for Ethereum. I don't see us having a $10,000 market top for Ethereum. I think it's more going to be $20,000 to $25,000. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee that. I'm only basing it off the different things that are going to happen in the macroverse over the next 6 to 12 months. Now we're going to move on. Again, one of my favorite coins is Link, and it's boring. Number one, very boring. Not something which will really excite you, but when you understand, every time I try and get rid of these adverts, there we go. It's not going to excite people. It's not going to be a coin that people are going to rush out and buy. But look at what it does. it does interoperability. It provides interoperability to chains with security. And that's what we want. The next stage, once we've got adoption and once we've got regulation, the next stage for me is interoperability. We talk about the AG layer, the Matic AG layer all the time, Polygon AG layer, sorry. We talk about it all the time. Chainlink is connecting different blockchains together. The AG layer is doing the same thing. We don't want 50 different spiders webs. We want one great big spiders web where nobody cares what chain they're on. That's where we need to get to for retail or gamers, or whatever you want to call them, to really adopt to crypto. So the momentum of Chainlink in February has largely subsided, and the current performance of the crypto seems lackluster. When was this written? This was written very recently, March the 10th, yesterday. Well, Scott, we are now at $21.40. We've done exceptionally well for Chainlink. I'm going to bring the price up in a minute. It would appear that the cryptocurrency is gearing up for some action in the coming weeks. Interestingly, new on-chain data has revealed a fresh accumulation pattern by Link Whales. According to a blockchain tracker, Look On-Chain, there's been an outflow of 831,000 Link, worth 16.72 million from exchanges. So we like that. Are we in an accumulation trend? I don't think we are. I think we're in the bull run. I think people just buying the assets they think are going to have the most value. So there is a lingering bullish belief in Link in some large traders, despite the crypto currently having a weak momentum. Again, one of the big problems with trading in a bull market is you can be the greatest trader on earth, but if you short in a bull market, you're likely to be stung. Also, a bull market makes you feel like you're an amazing trader, because you'll go and buy $100 worth of a coin, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, it might be worth $150 to $200. Conversely, in a bear market, you could be buying Chainlink, Ethereum, Solana, and the price is just dumping. So just because we're in a bull market and you do really well at trading, it doesn't make you a technical genius, because there's more than one way, there's more than one thing to take into account. There is, of course, the charts, but there is the macro environment. There's also the stage of the bull or the bear market we're in. You could have bought crypto all the way down from November 2021, and you'd think you were the worst investor in the universe. Conversely, you could have bought crypto from October last year to today, and you think you're the next Warren Buffett, but you've been buying on a rising tide, whereas the other guy who's been buying from November 2021, he's been buying on a falling tide. It depends when you buy in the market. You can accumulate in the market when prices fall, and you buy every week, and you buy in, like Michael Saylor has done. You buy in every week. You buy your Solana at $10. You buy your Chainlink at $12. You buy your Avalanche at $11. And then when the bull run comes, you're already up 4x. You're already up 5x. So, remember, there's bull runs make people believe they are amazing at trading, and bear markets make people believe they're terrible at trading, and that's just the way it is. And with something like Chainlink, we've looked at the charts for Chainlink before October. It spent 16 months in the same range, up and down between the same prices, for about 15 or 16 months. And now it's ripped. We were telling you to buy it a year ago. It doesn't mean that we're geniuses. We were telling you to buy it in the accumulation phase. The same with Cardano, the same with XRP. And it's all very well and good people saying, well, Cardano hasn't done anything and XRP hasn't done anything. Cardano is up 3x. XRP is up 2x. It's not that we haven't, it's not that we're geniuses. We just back the horses that are going to win in the next bull run. What do I think of Stacks? I think if Bitcoin goes up, Stacks goes up. It's very similar to Ethereum and its layer 2s. I think if you've got Ethereum and Ethereum rips the roof off because it gets the ETF, then Arbitrum, Optimism, Matic, IMX, or whatever it's called, they'll all pump. I think with Bitcoin, anything that's associated with Bitcoin, Audi, Stacks, any of the new chains coming up, they're all going to rip when Bitcoin goes up. It's just the way it is, because that's the layer 1, that's the king. So most layer 2s or associated projects will rise. Stacks is very good. I like a lot of the new projects that are coming along that are trying to apply different elements to the top of Bitcoin. So DeFi or cross-chain staking and things like that. That's the next exciting thing for me. The ability to earn alternative yield on your Bitcoin without your Bitcoin leaving the Bitcoin chain, if that makes sense. So, Chainlink to rival Bitcoin. I take it this is in terms of growth. So what we'll do, let's not read any more about this. It is 11:46 and we still have a few bits to go through. So let's go and very quickly look at the Chainlink chart. And again, I'm bullish on Chainlink. Will it be here in 5 years' time? Yes. Does it have a revenue model? Yes. Is it interacting with real life businesses? Yes. So there's a lot to like about Chainlink. Price action as well. Very, very good. This goes back to near third week of January onwards. It's looking good. Now, for those of you, again, quite a lot of people have been saying, you know, we're too late. We're too late to the market. And the reason they say that is they didn't pick up Chainlink down here. You know, Chainlink was down $6, $7. It's 3x'd. Okay. But certain projects, not all projects, certain projects are going to revisit their all-time highs. And for me, Chainlink is going to be one of them. So where could Chainlink get to? Chainlink could easily break $52. Chainlink could easily get to $100. It's only a 5x. If the entire market is predicted to 4x from here, because a lot of people are saying that we're going to go to an $8 to $10 trillion market cap. So if we're going to 4x from here, generally across the board, some are going to outperform others, clearly, you know. XRP, Solana, and Cardano are not going to do exactly 400% increase. Some will do 300, maybe some will do 200, some will do 500. Chainlink, for me, only has to 5x to get back to its all-time high. If we keep going the way we're going, 2.5x to get to its all-time high. But if we go the way we're going, it only has to 5x to get to $100. Now, $100 from where it was down here, let's call it $5, is a 20x for one of the best projects in crypto. Now, that's a 20x from the bottom. Nobody can time the bottom. We're at $21 now. If it 5x's from here, you're not late to the party, are you? You're going to make 500% profit. Maybe it only goes up to $80. You make 400%. So don't think that you're coming to the market too late. Don't think you've missed it because you didn't buy down here. You know, if you really zoom out, if we really zoom out and we say, right, what's going to happen over the course of the next so many years? What could happen is Chainlink does this. Comes down again, very similar to what's happened down here. Comes down here, and then in the next bull run, goes off. Hang on. Goes off up here. $168. Doesn't matter what it goes to. The point of it is that you look at these charts and it does this kind of action. And of course, it's going to plateau at some point in the future, but that some point in the future isn't now. Markets, especially new markets, take a long time for the volatility to leave. It takes a long time to get to price discovery. It takes a long time to reach the new all-time high. It takes a long time. We go in cycles, remember. We currently sit in a 4-year cycle because of Bitcoin. Now, maybe the next cycle isn't as deep, it's shallower because Bitcoin is at a certain market cap. Maybe we don't see these returns. Maybe we see this kind of action from all of your different alts. Maybe we don't see the 10x's and the 20x's that we used to see. But it's still going to be up and to the right for most of these coins until they reach their economic fair value. What is the fair value of Chainlink if it provides full interoperability for all the major chains? It allows for full liquidity of USDC across all of the chains. It has full interoperability with real-life businesses like Maersk and Vodafone and Cisco or whatever. Where is the fair value of that business? You can use that logic on XRP, Cardano, Solana, Ethereum. You can use it on all of them. Are we there yet? Well, look how long it took the internet to get going. It took from 94, 95. It took at least 15, 20 years to do that. So have we got another 6 years of growth, 4 years of growth, potentially? So think about that and think about this could be a good time to get into some of these coins like Cardano, like XRP, like Solana, like Chainlink. And remember, you're not too late just yet. We haven't reached the halving. That's still another 5 or 6 weeks away. We're still waiting for the halving. We are nowhere near the bull run. That's something to bear in mind. Now, Tariq, our Litecoin bull out there, is not going to believe that we have got our second Litecoin article in the space of 2 weeks. In fact, I think it's in the space of about 10 days, our second Litecoin article. I'm not going to do the charts though, Tariq. I'm just going to go through the article. So Litecoin beats out Dogecoin and Bitcoin to emerge as the top crypto for payments. Now, back in the day, probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, I used Litecoin to send transactions. Very cheap, very quick. That's all you want. Cheap and quick. How else do you want payments to go? You don't want to use Bitcoin for the technology. You don't want to use Ethereum because of the technology. You want to use the cheapest, fastest way to send money. Tron was also very good at the time, but for me, I used Litecoin. I would send it from one exchange to another. It would arrive in no time at all. It was great. So Litecoin for me, I did use it. And I had a Litecoin miner 7 years ago. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. I had a Litecoin miner, mined it for about 18 months, I think. So I have an affinity to it, but I just don't see it's got any legs. However, in a recent announcement on Twitter, the Litecoin team revealed that Litecoin has claimed the top spot of their payment count of cryptocurrency. The team disclosed that Litecoin has hit a recent milestone, scoring approximately 41.7% of the total transaction count. The website has also acknowledged the significant achievement. Litecoin is the cryptocurrency most commonly used for transactions on its payment platform, surging higher than popular cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Litecoin has achieved this milestone by a staggering margin. Even as prominent altcoins like Dogecoin attempt to make their mark, Litecoin has left them trailing behind. Dogecoin holding 4th position, only managed 6.8%. Adding to this recent achievement, Litecoin Foundation has previously disclosed in January, Litecoin has hit a new all-time high of 38.25% on all payments processed, outpacing Bitcoin and Dogecoin again. So there you go. So there is light at the end of the tunnel for Litecoin? Maybe. Somebody said, is it ever going to hit $100? I said, not in the near future. But we're at 90. Are we at $94 today for Litecoin? I'm not going to bring up the chart. Let's have a quick look in here. I'm just not a huge fan of it. $95 for Litecoin, up 7.5% in the last day. Look at that. I remember Litecoin when it was about $300. And again, only ever takes time to load when I'm on the stream. Always works perfectly fine when I'm not on the stream. Let's have a look back. Where do we get to? There we go. Let's go back to all-time highs. It's been around for a while. There we go. $350 it's peaked at. $352. So if we get to $300 in this bull run, I think Litecoin will have done very well. That's a 3x for Litecoin. I remember when it used to be Bitcoin, Litecoin, and then Ethereum came along. We had XRP up there. We had an awful lot of old coins that don't exist anymore. So Litecoin has held around, but it's just not. It's fallen down. Ever since Charlie Lee sold his stake, that kind of marked the peak for me for Litecoin. But $95, if you've held Litecoin from the bottom, then congratulations. Now this is the worry. 87.2% of ARB tokens will be unlocked on March the 16th, which is when? Is that Saturday? It's soon, isn't it? 5 days from now. Let's make this a tad bigger so you can read it. There we go. So Arbitrum will unlock 1.1 billion on March the 16th, constituting approximately 87.2% of the current circulating supply. Explore the token unlock schedule in March. Now get ahead of the game. Arbitrum's massive token unlock is scheduled for March 16th. That is outrageous. I mean, if you compare it to other chains, so IMX, Pixel, Aptos, it normally ranges between about 3 and 5%. So an 87% unlock is astronomical. Absolutely astronomical. Arbitrum operates by batching many transactions together off-chain. We know this, it's a layer 2. Greatly reduces the demand. We know all of this. Now, I don't know whether we want to go and read the replies, but what I would suggest is something very simple. If you hold Arbitrum, I would expect volatility in the price. Let's have a look if we can bring up the ARB chart. If it's not already seen volatility, I would expect a lot of volatility on Arbitrum. It's at $2. If the unlock happens in 6 days' time, do you honestly think it's going to hold $2? I think there's going to be a correction. Irrespective of how many are sold, I think there's going to be a correction. And the reason being is that's a massive unlock. Even if 8% was sold, it's just going to crash the price. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of it. Maybe it's all going to be unlocked and it's all going to be sent to the treasury. I don't know. But my word of warning is I would err on the side of caution. I don't see the price going to $4 when 87% of the supply gets unlocked in 5 days' time. I'd be very, very surprised that the price shoots up. However, it's my opinion, it's not financial advice, but I would expect some kind of move down before returning. But again, just be careful. Just be careful with it. I'd be worried if I held Arbitrum today and I held it from this price down here back in October, which was about 80 cents. I'd look at taking some profits now on the off chance that the price absolutely crashes. So that's my final word of warning on that. Now then, we have got to 12 o'clock. And that is, of course, the end of the news. We are now on to final thoughts. So we're going to bring up the Bitcoin chart very quickly. And let's get rid of all this. We don't need to know about ETFs, do we? We know about ETFs. So my final thoughts for the day are, we've seen this kind of price action before. We broke 70,000 on, what day was it we broke 70,000? Was it Thursday last week? We didn't hold it, we came back down. So what we want to see today from Bitcoin is we want to have a run at 74,000, or we want to hold this price. Remember that there are certain key significant milestones in every cryptocurrency, and they are prices which are psychologically important. So $3,000, $2,000, $5,000 for Ethereum. Bitcoin, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $69,000 thrown in because that was the all-time high. So what we want to see today is we want, number one, we want it to hold $70,000. That is the most important thing. All right, so let's draw these up here. So we want to hold $70,000. That's what we want to do. If we do that, the next logical step is $74,000. So if Bitcoin can hold 70 today, and this bullish momentum carries on, because remember, we're not quite at max RSI here. If we did this, and we did this for a few days, that would be another leg up. Remember, we talk about these steps that Bitcoin has to take. So if we could do that, and we continue to do that, that is, in my opinion, and I'm not a 25-year official trader, but in my opinion, if we could do that, for me, that's healthy. We do not want this. That is pointless. We don't want that wick to 100,000. It makes no sense. We want slow and steady, like an old diesel tractor. Slow and steady. Keep the RSI under control, keep it low. You know, we are in a bull market, so the other thing to bear in mind in a bull market is you're going to see these kind of bearish divergences and hidden bearish divergences. It doesn't mean they always play out, because we're in a bull market, the price will continue to go up. So can we hold 70,000? And if we can we get to 74,000 and hold it as support? So they're the two options. Do we keep this, or do we do this? They're the two things we want to do today. The one thing we don't want to see is we don't want to see weakness. We don't want to see weakness that brings us back down here again. We want to see this either straight line or break through and hold it. They're the two things I want to see today. So that's my final thought. It's 12:05. As I said, I'm trying to get the show done by 12 o'clock. An hour a show is where I'm trying to get to. I don't want it to overrun, simply because I don't want to see. Ayesha, you can look at divergence on any chart. You can look at it daily, you can look at it weekly, you can look at it on the 4 hour, you can look at it in the 1 hour. You click on it whenever you want. It doesn't matter. It just shows you what. So you could start on the 15-minute, you can go to the 30, then you can go to the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, and the weekly. I use the daily because I think the chart shows pretty much where we are. It's 4 hours is a bit too short, weekly is a bit too long, so daily for me is what I use. But again, there's no right or wrong way of doing things. A lot of people use completely different techniques, completely different tools. Yeah, 1 week does give you conviction, but if you're looking for short-term price action, then what I would say is I'm looking at what's going to happen today. I'm not looking at the weekly. So today we want to hold 70,000 and then push towards 74. And again, if the volumes of these ETFs come in the same way they've come in for the last few weeks, then everything we're looking at makes no sense. No sense at all. We could have this, and this, okay, which would mean this. And guess what? ETFs come in, bang, up there. That's what's going to happen. And that's the problem with people that solely trade off charts. The macro environment can get you wrecked, whether that be interest rate increases or decreases, whether it be conflict, whether it be a pandemic, whatever it might be. All of those things have to be considered when you're looking at charts. So if you look at this chart and you ignore the ETFs, then you're not doing a proper job for yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice. Brogan looks at the charts, also looks at the macro news. Arbitrum. On Friday, every coin in the top 50 could be pumping, and Arbitrum could be down 25%. And if you base it solely on charts, you're not going to know why. And the reason is, of course, it's an 87% unlock. So for me, I try and look at everything I can. Now then, I do have to go. So housekeeping, we're back at 11 o'clock every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday this week. We are back at 11 o'clock with this show. Brogan is back tonight at 9 p.m. I will be adding it to some calendars, and some calendars already have it in, and he will be doing a live trading show tonight at 9 o'clock. It lasts about an hour to an hour and a half. He will look at your coins. He will look at Bitcoin. He'll look at Ethereum as well, but he'll look at whatever coins. So if you want to see some live trading by the actual trader in the team, he's back tonight at 9 p.m. That, for those of you that are on a different clock from now, that's 9 hours from now. He will be back doing the live show. So make sure to tune in for that. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow at 11. I am going to make a few videos today. I'm probably going to make one about Zeus Network, which is the coin that won the Jupiter DAO vote. So I'm going to do that. However, one thing I haven't said all stream, very important, is the way you can follow us, the way you can help us out is by following us. So press the follow button, press the like button, press the subscribe button, whatever you've got in front of you, press those buttons, because that number in the bottom left-hand corner that says 105,000, we're trying to get to 200,000 followers by the end of the year. I don't think we're going to do it. I think we're going to fall short. Maybe we'll get to 160, 170, but you have to have goals. So 200,000 by the end of the year would be great. And it would be great to keep that number above the price of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does get to 120,000 by June, it would be great if we were on 125, 130,000. So if you are new and you like what you've heard, make sure to subscribe or follow or whatever else you've got over there. Smash those buttons. That'd be great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the stream on pause for a couple of minutes while I get everything sorted. I will see you all in the morning. Thanks to everybody on all the different channels for tuning in. Greatly appreciate the support. You guys turned up every day to listen to us. It's amazing. Until tomorrow then, see you tonight or see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Let's see if we can get 74,000 in. If not, let's hold 70. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Tata Land, thank you for watching all of the videos yesterday. You're a legend. And I'll see you all in the morning.